birthday party? And then you got a freaking miracle. There you go.
Welcome to the Abracadamn podcast, and I'm your host, stand-up comedy magician Danny Whitson. All right, Abracadammits, I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and very happy holidays. We have made it. We are coming up now to the last week of 2021. 2021 has been a very interesting year for me. I gotta say, the Abracadamn podcast had its full year of 2021, so that was cool. So professionally, this has been a great year for me. Professionally, it has. Now, mentally and physically, boy, it's been a doozy. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It has been a doozy. It's been a tough one. So my goal in 2022 is to try to have a better balance, career-wise, and mentally and physically. I want everything on the same level. That's my goal. So let's hope it turns out well. Hope you have some goals for the new year coming up too, because I think goals are a good thing. Me and my good friend Nate were talking. If you do have goals, write them out. Write them down. Like, get a whiteboard or a dry erase board and write these things down. That way they're staring at you every day. Hang it up on the wall. Look at it. Try to get those things done, get those things accomplished. That's what I'm going to do for 2022. And maybe you should too. There's some things you want to get done. Anyways, let's give some quick show announcements real quick. New Year's Eve, I'm going to be at Little Joe's in Maynardville, Tennessee. I've been there, done shows there before. It's a great time. Only $12 a ticket. I know it's kind of an odd price, but $12 a ticket. They'll be selling at the door at Little Joe's, Maynardville, Tennessee. Come see me. We're going to bring in 2022. Then January 7th, I'm going to be with the very funny Shelly Belly. She's a big TikTok star. If you get a chance, check her out. She's also on season 3 of The Circle on Netflix. Me and her are going to be at the Grove Theater in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and that's going to be January 7th. And you can get tickets at brownpaperticket.com. or you can buy them at the door. So 2 show dates coming up. Definitely get out and catch a show. Anyways, that being said, let's get right in to today's sponsors for the Abracadamn podcast.
Okay. Well, today's episode is brought to you by Rosie Tattoos. Custom tattoos designed to suit your style in a friendly and clean environment. I've been getting my tattoos done by Rosie for a while now, and I couldn't recommend anyone else because she does excellent work. As a matter of fact, I got an appointment to see Rosie here in just a few weeks, and I cannot wait to get my ink therapy done, baby. Rosie gets free consultations by Facebook Messenger, Instagram, or by email. Shoot her an email at rosietattoos@yahoo.com. Give Rosie a call today at 865-281-3451, or go see Rosie at 5710 Kingston Pike, Knoxville, Tennessee. Get your ink therapy done. You know you want a tattoo. Go see Rosie Tattoos.
All right, Abracadammits. Now, today's guest is somebody, well, first of all, he's involved in so many cool things in this area. He is on the board of the Knox Pride, and if you've never been to the Knox Pride Festival, it's one of the best ones around. He's also involved with Salome and another show, Bear It All. He is a very talented male burlesque performer, but also, not just that, he's also got a really, really cool Dolly Parton story. That's right, the Queen of Country, yes, Dolly Parton, has came and watched one of their shows. Super cool. I wouldn't know what to do. That would blow my mind. So, if you will, Abracadammits, sit back and relax and enjoy my fun conversation with the very talented Beary Manatease. All right, I'm excited with today's guest on the Abracadamn podcast. We got Beary Manatease. How you doing, Beary?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Well, man, I've known you for a few years, and I believe we've shared the stage a couple of times. But if you don't mind, will you go ahead and introduce yourself to the Abracadamn listeners?
I will. My name's Beary Manatease, and I am a burlesque performer and producer. I co-produce and own Salome Cabaret, Camp King Entertainment, Barrett Burlesque, and the Smoky Mountain Burlesque Festival.
Wow, man. I mean, you have to be a busy dude. A lot of things going on there.
It is. I mean, it's been nice this past almost 2 years. We actually were just talking about it today. It's almost been 2 years since we've been on the stage. So, but we're coming back in January.
Oh man, that is so awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, okay. First of all, this is the interesting thing with you right off the bat, because most of the time when people think of burlesque performers, they immediately think of females. But you, sir, are a male. So what is that like? What is it like being a male burlesque performer?
Well, not only am I a male burlesque performer, I am a plus size, hairy male burlesque performer.
Now, let me make sure I get this right. With the name, I guess you would be a bear, correct?
Correct.
All
yes.
right.
Yeah. The origin of my name refers to me being a bear and manatee, because they are known as the sea cows. And so my original tagline was the stripping sea cow. I used to be much bigger than I am now and lost a lot of weight. And my name, my tagline just kind of gravitated to the Papa Bear Burlesque, because that's what I do. I take care of my folk. So I'm a true Papa Bear when it comes to that. So that my tagline just kind of shifted to that. And so, but I kept the name Beary Manatease.
Well, I love the name, but first of all, I was about to say, I mean, you're not that big. I mean, you're not a fat guy. Let me say that you're not a fat guy. So, so Beary Manatease, but that's also a clever name. That's the other thing I love about burlesque performers, period. This is the thing I love about burlesque performers is the freaking creativity in their names. You
have to. I never thought I would be a performer, so I never put thought into what a name would be until I was doing my debut act, and so it came down to, well, what are you going to be called? And at that time there wasn't a lot of one male performers, but two male performers like myself. So it had to be something catchy and clever, and I had to beat people to the punch of me being a bigger person, and that's why I was the stripping sea cow. And so, but just as this art form evolves, and so did my persona as a performer, and the intentions behind my name.
Gotcha. Well, let me ask you this. Let's first start out. Let's hear your story. How did you get into burlesque? How did you get into this?
I had no clue what burlesque was. And then I was out on a date, and we ran into some friends that asked us if we were going to the burlesque show at the French Quarter. The French Quarter was closing. It was their last night. And we said, sure, we'll go. And that was the first time I met Siren Santina, Kisa Von Tisa, the whole White Lightning crowd or group then. And the moment Siren Santina came on stage, I was like, what is this? And where has it been my whole life? And I was like, how do I get involved? At that point, I knew I wasn't performing was never on my radar. And so I became what was called a booby guard. So my job was to essentially be a bodyguard at shows to keep people from coming in backstage and whatnot. And then I progressed to a stage kitten, or a tomcat, as male performers would be called. So it was my job to place props on stage and clean up after an act, and then I met John, my husband, and then we got it. Both of us have a background in management, and so as the troupe grew, there was a need for that, and so we said, well, we can apply our business skills to this troupe, because it runs as a business. And so, and at that point, we were not performers, so it made more sense for us to being involved in that way. And so then we became managers and producers with Siren Santina. And then we developed Camp King Entertainment, which all of our ventures fall underneath that. So, and then that's how the rest of it was born. So, but we were doing a TV themed show, and I had an idea for a Roseanne act. And I was pitching it I was like, someone should do this. Big Gay James said, well, why don't you just do it? And I was like, because I never thought about doing that. And he's like, well, I mean, the act is perfect for you. So I was like, okay. And so then that's Beary Manatease was born in with my Dan Connor act.
That's awesome. And did you say Big Gay James?
Uh-huh.
I love that name. That's the best. So Big Gay James, if you listen to this, and I know who you are, I've met you a few times. You're a super cool dude. But I love that name. That's like that's the greatest gay name of all time. Big Gay James. I'm digging it.
Well, there, with Salome that we've had, we have Rhoda Derriere as our MC now. But before
and she's
that,
awesome. She is amazing, by the way. I have worked with her before, and she is so good. She's fantastic.
Yeah, I can't speak enough of her. But before her, there was Big Gay James, and then there was Big Gay Phil and Big Gay Rob. So we had a lineage of big gays. And Rhoda said, fuck that, I'm taking over. And so now we have her. So.
Man, I mean, see, I love the creativity too, because I mean, if you've never been to a burlesque show, it's so much more than stripping. It's so much more than that. I mean, and the acts and the creativity and the things that you guys do on stage. I mean, it's a real art. It is real art.
It is, and it's a resurgent. What Salome is and what I do is considered neo burlesque. So, there's traditional and neo, and we're in a resurgent of burlesque, and neo is taking the, that's where your comedy and your slapstick and, your nerdlesque and all that comes from. There's a little bit more free form to it, where with traditional there's certain standards that you follow, and that's back in the day when burlesque came about. That's what there was. It was a traditional acts lasted 10 to 15 minutes, and the whole thing was you never actually saw anything. It was all about the strip tease, leaving it to the imagination. I mean, very rarely did you see anything. You might get a peep of a pasty here and there, but and working, there's a whole legends panel behind the burlesque community, and when we get opportunity to spend time with them and hear their stories and what they went through and what it was like, back in the day, some of these women were, dating movie stars and performing for princes and all kinds of royal people and whatnot, and then there was a die-off of it, and there was a stigma that kind of surrounded what burlesque was, and then we hit this resurgent with neo burlesque, and it was really booming. And then the pandemic happened, and everything kind of, in the fringe arts, where I like to say we're the redheaded stepchild, where
no offense taken there, Beary. No offense there.
But so we're the lesser valued of the fringe arts, but I think with the pandemic, we had to be real creative in how we were presenting our art, and so it brought a new light to it. So I think coming out of this, going into the next year or two, I think there's going to be a big boom of it. It's gonna become a little bit more mainstream, I think, is what we're going to see.
Well, I definitely can see that happening, and I think, especially for variety artists of all, that there's that people are wanting to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, but let me go back, because I want to go back to you real quick. On the, you said that you guys were in the French Quarter. You went to a burlesque show. So prior to anything, you had no desire to be an entertainer.
No, I went to school for business. That's what I was going to do. Business was my focus, and I never even thought that could cross over into the entertainment world. And when I saw White Lightning that night, I have 4 sisters, and I saw these ladies on stage, and it was actually also in that show there was burlesque and there was drag, and it was the first time I ever saw drag too. But watching Siren and Kisa perform, and seeing the confidence that they had in themselves, and the confidence that the audience was giving to them, the empowerment, I was like, I wish my sisters had this, because my sisters, all 4 of them, had dealt with body issues and image, and all that growing up. And I was like, well, I just wish that they had just a bit of that confidence. And I think that's what I'm drawn to, people who have confidence, and I think that's what drew me to these ladies, was because they were just slinging confidence all over that stage, along with talent. I've never seen anyone as talented as Siren Santina. And so I when I met her that first time, I was like, I could just tell. I was like, I'm meant to be a part of this, and like I said, I never realized it would be to the extent that I am now, or that I would ever even be on stage myself. So,
and you're absolutely right. There is something about being a stage performer there. Well, first of all, you have to have confidence in what you're doing. You have to. And I always tell people, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. And I definitely, I'm not arrogant, but I'm absolutely 100% confident in what I can do, and, that comes with time, and it builds up, but also the audience feeds off your confidence too, and they know, and I think your audience gets comfortable in what they're about to see. They're about to see something quality, because they can feed off that confidence as well.
And that's why Rhoda and Big Gay James are such great MCs, because they can, they can build that energy in the audience and encourage the audience to give it to the performers. And then, as performers, we just perform even harder when we, and that's the thing, when people take our academy, that's the first thing we tell them is that audience is there to love you, no matter what happens. If you fail or fuck up or what, that audience is there just to love you. And if you can go into an act with that in mind, it just gives you so much ease when you're performing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And well, also, I think some of the favorite audiences have been at variety burlesque shows and stuff that I performed on. Some of the best crowds ever. Back in the day, I remember trying out new pieces and stuff on these shows. I was like, this is a great time to maybe test this out, and it was. Some of the things that are staple in my act now, began there on the burlesque stage, on the, the variety shows and stuff. So now, does your husband, is he a burlesque performer as well?
He is not. He manages. He's behind the scenes. That's his role in all of this, and that's with him and Siren and I. That's why we make such a good team. Siren's the creative director, John is the business person, and then I'm the doer of it. So they get together and say, okay, we want to do this, and John says, all right, we're going to do this, and then it's my job to figure out how we're going to do it. So
that's super. You know what, man, and I can't praise this enough either, Barry, is my wife Antoinette, she has my back with what I do, and she handles a lot of the business side of what I do. And it's really special, especially if you're an entertainer and you've got a spouse that's got your back and supports you like that. That's awesome.
No, it is. He makes all of this go around and really good. And I mean, especially being a burlesque performer, if you can have a supportive spouse or significant other that supports you getting out there and taking your clothes off for people, and everyone look at you. I mean, not only if you can support that, but you can book that, then you've got to.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is now how, I don't know, so I have to ask, but how popular has male burlesque dancing been, and even to be more niche with it, I guess gay men burlesque, how long has that been something that's been around for a long time?
Not for a long time. Back when burlesque first came, you very rarely saw a male performer, and back then it was a very niche thing. Over the past 10 years is really when male performers have come about. Most male performers were given a light of comedy. If you were going to be in a cabaret, you had to be in a comedic standpoint, especially a larger male burlesque performer. We were always the punchline, the comedy relief, and so that's we were never given the permission to be sexy on stage. And so but I would say over the past 10 years at least is where we've seen and part of that was because the industry was so female driven. Part of it was we were feeling like we were taking up space where we weren't supposed to. But then we had these female performers that were so encouraging and said, no, there's a place for you. This is what burlesque is all about. It's about confidence. It's about building your self-esteem, and that is for females or males or anything in between. And so over the past 10 years, we've seen an increase in male performers, but also an increase in a variety of body shapes and sizes in male performers as well, which is amazing. I mean, because for the longest time I had an issue because I don't have that chiseled male physique or what would be traditionally considered sexy. So when I first started performing, I had to be funny. That was my goal, was I had to be funny, because no one can find me taking my clothes off to be sexy. So I have to do it in a comedic way in order to get a response from the crowd. But that was not me. I felt very hard trying to be funny. But fortunately, in that side, I fell into finding my sensual side, and being able to present, sexy acts on stage and feeling comfortable and confident in what I was presenting.
Yeah. Okay. I want to bring this up. And now this is something that I even have a difficult time even bringing up to discussion, because I think first of all heterosexual men right now thank gay men for be willing to bring this topic up. First of all, let me say that, because as a heterosexual guy, when I bring this topic up, I almost feel like shamed for bringing it up. Like you show weakness for bringing this up. So but since you're here, I want to talk about it. There's so much BS that men get body shamed on several parts. On several body parts, we constantly get body shamed. And I'm talking as a whole, and most men really, it does cause confident issues with most men, a lot of men. But most heterosexual men are too afraid to talk about it because it appears weak, and which is not true at all. But the only men I've ever heard bring up body image for men are homosexual men. So thank God for you guys fighting the good fight, man. So,
well, now, and I mean, body image in the gay community is so toxic. Yeah, it is because you're either too fat, you're too thin, you're too femme, you're too masculine. Body image is just a toxic thing in the gay community. And there is some change into that now, because people are feeling empowered and they just don't give a shit anymore. And that's part of the reason why I created Baradol Burlesque, is because I wanted a platform for male presenting performers of all shapes and sizes, to feel confident. And, when I'm performing in a Baradol show opposed to any other show, because I'm sharing a stage with very like-minded, presenting performers, who traditionally wouldn't be considered, a certain way to people. It's just easier to, I perform differently in that show, not in a bad way. Because I always give 100%, but there's just something when you're sharing a stage with male performers who are very like-minded with yourself, because it's a sense of taking ownership of a stage, a place that you're, especially for someone like me, I've been told for years, you don't deserve to be there. You don't have a place to be there. No one wants to see that. So when a group of guys who are plus size, hairy, or super thin and whatnot, just a variety of shapes and sizes, all are on a stage together presenting a show, there's just something kind of cool about that, because no one's taking that power away from us.
That's super cool. And hey, I've got hair on my chest. I'm a dude. Is that cool again? I don't know. You can't keep up with it. It was cool remember the 80s, Tom Selleck, and then it went away. Then you had to have a bare chest, and now, so if hair's back, there we go, baby.
Yeah. Oh, it never went away. Well, there was a point where you had to be muscles and slick as
let me do this. All right, so now, first of all, let me bring this up because this is a very interesting topic. Anybody who knows me well enough, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on here before on the podcast, but my son's gay, and so I've got this. I don't know why I do this, but anytime I've ever seen any gay people, I just feel like I want to hug them. You know what I mean? Like, they're my children. I love you. So how long have you and it's John? Is it John, your spouse?
Yeah.
How long have you guys been together? How long have you guys been married?
We've been married for 15 years.
That is freaking awesome.
And together 16 years. We were the first same-sex couple, marriage-wise, in the state of Tennessee. We were the first same-sex married couple to adopt and own property in the state of Tennessee as well.
That is freaking amazing, dude. Damn. That's a whole nother reason to have you on the podcast. That is super cool, man. Okay, man, that means a lot to me, because now my son currently lives in Las Vegas with his partner, and as bad as it sucks that he lives so far away, but one day I'm already thinking I can't wait till one day I can have grandkids, and I think about that stuff. And now, and you guys do have children, correct? You just said, yeah.
We have 4.
That is awesome. And so, what has that experience been like, being 2 gay parents, raising a family in East Tennessee? So what's that like?
Well, and in Anderson County too.
Oh, Anderson County?
Yeah.
First of all, most of these listeners, by the way, Barry, have no freaking clue where we're talking about. Some do, but I've got people in Russia and France. They have no. But Anderson County is the county we live in. But go ahead, I said we. I'm in Anderson County too, man. So cool.
I mean, yeah. You're talking about farmland, rural land. But this is where I was born and raised, and we're very fortunate in the town that we live in because it's well, for now, it's very small and very liberal, like-minded, and we really have not had an issue with raising kids. But we went from having no kids to having 4 kids, all within 9 months.
Wow! So you guys were kind of like Octomom a little bit.
Yeah, well, it wasn't planned.
It wasn't.
No,
wait a minute. How? Okay, let's hear it.
So we became foster parents, and the first child they placed with us. So a kid that's in the foster system has to be in your home for 6 months. And so Brian, they put him in our house, and we knew the first day that he came that was our son. He looks just like John and I. It's like someone, and his mannerisms, everything was, and so. So we knew we were going to adopt. And so we set the adoption date for 6 months to the day that he came to our house. Well, 3 months into that, we get a call about a sibling group of 3. We had always wanted older children because we felt like that there was a need there. That's what we felt like we were drawn to. And so the sibling group had a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 13-year-old. So they came in 3 months into us having Brian, and then they had to be in our home for another 6 months, which put us at 9 months. So in the amount of time it would take someone to carry a child, we got 4.
Now, did you guys you didn't get any static or any issues for being a homosexual couple trying to adopt a child or anything like that?
Well, we did have to go through a private agency because unfortunately the placement person in Knoxville at that point would not place children with same-sex couples. So we had to go through a private agency to become foster parents, and we did. Yeah.
Let me say this real quick, okay? And I got to voice my frustration with this. And I don't know how well maybe you kept up with any local news just the past, I think it was last year. Just recently, there was a family, a man and a woman who were continuously foster parenting children and murdering these kids, starving them to death, buried the kids in the backyard. And then it blows my mind that they would be hesitant about putting children in a gay home, a gay coupled house, but they seem like they have no issues of putting children in psychopath homes.
Yeah. If you look at statistics,
you know what story I'm talking about, right, Barry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The issues in the foster care system have never laid with a same-sex couple. It's always been the other ones, but we're the bad influence. So we went through this private agency, became foster parents, and we're very fortunate. Our family is very close knit, and we live, very close together. And in the small town, that was very supportive. We only ever had our 2 oldest sons had instances twice, about someone calling us a derogatory name, but they were very quick to handle that, and that was the end of it. And when we adopted Brian, the News Sentinel did an article on us, and we were afraid about doing the article because of what would come from it. And the only hate we got from that was someone commented on the Brian's weight, and I was like, so we've been very fortunate as a same-sex couple with kids that not to run into any of that. The teachers at the schools love us because we're very stereotypical. We go overboard for everything that we do. So
I got to be honest, man. I love the stereotypical gay dude. I do, man. My son's somewhat, if he listens to this, he's probably gonna date me, but he's kind of the stereotypical gay dude on some stuff. So, but well, I mean, first of all, man, that just fills my heart up. I'm so glad, and that's awesome, man. That's awesome because these kids are in a fantastic home, somewhere where they're getting love and taken care of, and I hope that some of these adoption agencies quit bullshit and quit making up things just to support some make-believe agenda that they have.
Yeah, well, and that's why when all these gay rights bills go up and these adoption bills go up, we that affects us. We have to worry about that because if any of these bills are passed, our adoption becomes null and void. John and I's marriage becomes null and void, and we have no leg to stand on. So we've had to go through extreme lengths to have paperwork drawn up, and to just to be able to, in the case that something like that happens, we still have some kind of legal, perimeters around our relationship. And that's one of the things that we try to advocate for, and is because
you guys do a great job too at what you guys do. And also now, were you guys the founder of Knoxville Pride, or were you guys the founder of it?
No, Knox Pride has been around for 15 plus years. We came aboard about 4 years ago, just as volunteers. And then John ran for a board seat, and then Siren ran for a board seat. And then 2 years ago, John ran for president and became president. And so, so him and Siren sat on the board, and I'm a committee member and volunteer because we're married. The bylaws doesn't allow for both of us to serve on the board. So, but the thing is, with the three of us, when you get one of us, you get all three of us. So, so I just serve on the committee, and then John is the current president.
Well, I want to say this real quick. I remember, when especially when we would try to go to Pride, as much as we could, and we would take my kids with us. And for anybody who has never been, dude, you're missing a hell of a time. It's an awesome time, man. Fantastic entertainment, great food. It's just a great atmosphere. I look forward to, going back to Pride outside, hopefully outside around people. Let's hope, keep our fingers crossed. Let's hope that can happen again. But highly recommend, if you've never been, I highly recommend it, especially the one here in Knoxville.
Well, Knoxville Pride is the largest free pride in the South, and it got moved to October next year, and it's going to be a 3-day event instead of a 1-day. So on Friday night we'll have the parade, and it's actually going to be a nighttime parade. And then Saturday will be the festival itself, and then Sunday we will have brunch in the park. And so we'll have we'll have a whole bunch of food vendors and trucks and the world, because we'll be back at World's Fair Park for that. And so we'll just have a bunch of food options in the park. So
that is awesome, man. Like I said, it's a hell of a time.
The city of Knoxville is expecting for us to hit 100,000.
Wow. Nice. That is awesome, man. Well, let's do this because I kind of trailed off. First of all, man, I can talk like gay rights and gay stuff all day, and I can even hop on a soapbox and go off. But That's another topic. We'll do this. Let's get back on the entertainment side of things, though, Barry. Now, okay, gay burlesque performer. Let me and one more little struggle question, and then we'll move past it. But being a gay burlesque performer, do you feel like you have any struggles still in entertainment, being a gay man in a burlesque performer?
No, not really. I think that is an advantage of ours because burlesque is a female-centric industry. There is some kind of comfort to, having a gay male counterpart, because we're definitely there to look out for our own, and so I think there is a sense of comfort of having, gay male performers in a show or, just in the industry. And I think that's why you will see more gay performers in burlesque. There is some heterosexual male performers, and they're great performers. They really are. But in that case, it is more gay male performers than heterosexual male performers. And I'll say this: I get more response and better response from heterosexual men at a show than I do anything.
That makes sense. That does make sense. Well, okay. So let me ask you this. Okay. Now, every entertainer who comes on the Abracadamn podcast has to tell a hell gig story. Let's hear it, Beary Manatease. I want to hear a hell gig story.
A hell gig story. I've been very fortunate that all my gigs have been pretty good.
Something crazy has had to have happened, though. Something funny, something crazy.
Something crazy. I mean, the craziest thing that can happen in a burlesque act is your costuming malfunctioning. And that definitely happened to me. I was on stage and, it's happened several times. You just, when things are held together with snaps and Velcro and zippers, you just can't always predict what's going to happen. But there was a particular act I was doing, and I guess I just turned the wrong way, and my pants just fell off at the beginning of the act. So here I am trying to hold my pants up until when they're supposed to come off, because part of my reveal was what was on my underwear, and so I was trying to keep that, and so I finally just had to just lose the pants and then just make sure that my backside was not to the audience until it was supposed to be. So
okay, so during, because I've had stuff go wrong in my show, and I don't acknowledge it, I just play it off and go roll with it. So that's kind of what you did. You just kind of played it off.
And that's one of the things we teach in our academy is how to recover from things. Because, I mean, when you're in live performance, you just have to, as much as you're prepared that something might go wrong, you never know what's going to go. It could be the music stopping. And Baradol, we were at a festival and we were performing and our music just stopped in the middle of it. And so here we are mid-performance and we were like, do we keep going? Do we wait for them to come back on? Or, we sat there for, a good 2 minutes until the music came back on. And then, fortunately it picked right back up where it was at. But so there's always I don't think I've ever been a part of a show that there hasn't been at least one type of malfunction of sorts to.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, you can what is it? Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's do this. Okay. Let's get you thinking here for a minute, man. Let's get you thinking. Barry, do you believe in time traveling? Do you believe in it?
I don't know if I believe in time traveling. I've never experienced it. I believe in all kinds of other things, but
Well,
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
so well, no, I mean, well, technically we don't know. I mean, we don't know if it's real or not. It might be, it may not be. I'm the firm believer. I'm one of these people. I think if you can imagine it, either it does exist or it can exist. So
Yeah,
that
I would agree with that, because I do believe in that. I am a big supporter of manifestation. If you believe it and you put energy into it, then it can happen. So I believe if you if you believe hard enough that time travel is real, that it could be a thing.
Well, let's do this. Okay. If you could travel in time, all right. And you could only make one trip, which means you don't get to come back. Okay. If you travel, would you travel to the future or the past? And if you travel to the future, you get to change one thing about your past. If you travel to the past, well, you forget everything you know now. So it sounds like you can't go to the past and, decide to play the lotto. Which one do you go, though? You go to the future or the past?
I would go to the past.
Okay. And now here's the biggie. Because, now, first of all, let me hear you answer why you chose the past and not the future. Go ahead.
Because I would go, I have always been fascinated by Abraham Lincoln. And I would go back to the time of Abe Lincoln so that I could meet him.
Okay. Now you brought this up, and now this is something that I have thought about. Okay. Matter of fact, I was just talking about Abe Lincoln yesterday. There's a little rumor that floats around, oh, Honest Abe. And I don't know if it's even, could you call it a conspiracy? I don't know. But
that he was gay?
That he was gay, yes.
That's part of the reason why I have been. I would, anytime someone asks that question, if you had a dinner party and you could invite, anybody living or dead, and who would your 4 people, 5 people be? He's always my first one, because I just always find him so fascinating. But also, to me, he's the original gay bear. I mean,
he was into wrestling, right? He was a wrestler. So, and I heard some other things that just I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was other things about him that made me think, like, was he gay? What could he have been gay? I don't know. And I'm sure he was gay, even if he was, but I'm sure there's a lot of gay guys that we have no clue of now, but I'm sure. But yeah, that's cool. So you'd like to go back and meet, arguably one of the greatest presidents of all time.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Now, why did you choose not to go to the future?
Because I enjoy the journey, and I don't. I am trusting my journey, so I don't want to know what's at the end. I want to experience it as I go along.
I'm totally with you on that too. There's some people that, there's actually some people out there that if they could know their future, they would, or if they could see the future, stuff like that. Not me, and that is something else that just, this is new for me, and anybody listening, this is something to really think about too, is a lot of times we spend most of our life, when I get to this is when I get there, that's when I'm going to be happy. Or when I get there, that's when I'm going to be happy. No, it's happening now.
Yeah,
it's happening now.
It took me a long time to get to that point, because I grew up in a family that didn't have money, and so I always thought, when I get there, when I get to a point where I have money, things will be perfect, life will be great. And I got to the point where I had money, and I was like, oh, no, now there's these things. So when I get to that, then life will be, and it was just always chasing that. When I get to, and I had to learn, it's not about getting to it. It's about enjoying getting to it.
That is the truth. Absolutely the truth. Fantastic advice too there, Beary Manatease. Now let's do this. Before we get out of here, I've got to do this. This is for special people that come onto the Abracadamn podcast. Just kidding. It's for everybody, but you're special too. But here we go. We're going to do this. Let's see here. Do you believe in mind reading, Beary?
I do.
All right. Well, I'm going to read your mind, brother. I'm going to get in your mind and redecorate. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show some cards. I want you to think of one of those cards. Just get a look at one and think of it. You got it in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't forget, or I sound stupider. Okay. If you forget, you do have one in your mind.
I do.
All right. Perfect. We're going to try this. Give me just a second here. We're going to lose the cards. Here we go. All right. Hold on. I want to try this. I'm going to cut the deck. I'm going to try to cut the deck. I'm going to cut the deck right here. Okay. Now I'm obligated, Beary. I'm obligated. I can't get out of this. Okay. This is just me and you see that I'm obligated. I have cut the deck, so I can't get out of this. And FYI, if I get this right, you need to act impressed, at least sound impressed, because they can't see the look on your face. Okay. For the first time, Beary Manatease, what is the card you were only thinking of?
Are you want me to tell you?
Say it out loud so they can hear you.
3 of diamonds.
The 3 of diamonds. Ladies and gents, I have cut to one card and one card only. The 3 of diamonds.
I am very impressed. If you could see my face right now, I don't smile at a whole lot of things, but I'm smiling ear to ear for this.
Thank you, Beary. You have been abracadamned, my man. You have been abracadamned. Well, I tell you what, man. So you did name some other things, though, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I can't remember off the bat, but I mainly know you from your burlesque performing and Knox Pride. But what else is it that you guys produce?
We produce Sound Cabaret, which we do have a show in January at South Press. And then we bear it all. We also do Knox Fringe, which you've been a part of that.
That was fun. Love that. That was so fun.
And then the Smoky Mountain Burlesque Festival, which will be back in 2022.
Gotcha. Now, where do you guys do the Smoky Mountain Burlesque Festival? That's out is that Gatlinburg or is it around here?
We do 2 nights at the Bijou Theater, and then our opening night is usually at one of our local venues.
Now, which one was it? Was that the one that was Dolly? Didn't Dolly?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, we got to hear that real quick. All right, guys. The queen of country, Miss Dolly Parton, came to one of these shows, showed up at one of their shows. If in case you're wondering how good of a show this is, Dolly Parton was there. Okay, let's hear that real quick, Beary. What was it like meeting Dolly? Tell me, let's hear it.
It was everything. If you, whatever you think about, it's true. So during the summer, we had gotten the notification that she was thinking about coming to a show. She wanted to come to her niece was a headliner at our first festival, and she wanted to come to that one, but because we were at a bar, she couldn't come to it. So once we moved to the Bijou, she had wanted to come to it. The first year we were there, her schedule just didn't align for her to be there. And so this last festival that we had, the summertime, we got the notification that she wanted to come. And so we had to make all these arrangements and plans for her to be there, not knowing until the week for sure that she was going to be able to make it schedule-wise. So we had to meet with all of her security, and everything. So they had to come in. We had to do a walkthrough and create a entrance and exit plan, and where do we put her that she's not visible, and then talking to her. The whole point of her not wanting to be visible was actually super sweet. She said, this is not my thing. She said, I'm here to support you all, and I don't want to take away from the performers. She's like, I understand who I am, and I know that when I go somewhere, it's an ordeal. She said, but I don't want to take away from the people on stage that I'm here to support. She said, it's not the Dolly show, it's the Smoky Mountain Burlesque Festival. And so here we are. We were thinking, we've got to make her as invisible as possible because of safety reasons and whatnot. Yeah. And so the day of, her security came in that morning. They set up a mobile hospital. We go through, the exit and entrance plan again, and we put her up in a box, and we dimmed the lights in the box. The plan was for her to go into the seat, just like 15 minutes before the show, to not make as much commotion and whatnot. And so we're sitting there that day with her security, and they let us know she's on her way. So we're like, this is happening. Dolly Parton is coming. So her and her sisters drove from Nashville for their ladies' night out, their girls' night out, which she shared with us that she has not got to do that in probably 20 years.
Wow. Wow. And Dolly Parton chose your show to do this.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So they come, they get there. And so we're talking to her security. He's on the phone with them. And we hear him talking, and then he says, all right, we'll make the plan. And so he gets off the phone with them, and he says, well, when she gets here, they're going to take a few minutes to get freshened up and whatnot, and she wants the three of you all to come on her bus and meet her. And so we were like, okay, what? And then he said, once the show is over, and he said she'll go back to the bus, the theater will get cleared out, and then she's going to come back and meet all the performers. And so they get there, and then they come and get us, John, Siren, and I, to go on the bus. And we walked on the bus, and it was just an overwhelming feeling. I mean, you just could feel nothing but goodness and love and such positive energy. And she took the time to learn who each of us were and what we did with the festival. She took pictures with us. And then, we always do a pre-show meetup with all the performers backstage. You've been a part of that. And so at that point, that's when we were letting everyone know what was going on, because we didn't want someone to go on stage and happen to look up and then see.
God,
and so we let everyone know. And the first time we said it, there was just quiet, and I was like, did they not hear what I said? And everyone was like, no, we were just in shock. And so we did the show. She went back to her bus. We cleared the theater, and she came back out and sang to us, and she was able to point out specific people and talk about their acts and whatnot. So I was like, so I got to strip for Dolly Parton on the beach.
That is awesome. And you know what? That's an awesome way to end on a podcast. Barry, man, this has been awesome, dude. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Before we get out of here, though, let the listeners know where they can learn more about Salome, where they can learn about Bear It All, Knox Pride. Where can they find out about Beary Manatease?
I mean, you can. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Beary Manatease. SalomeCabaret.com, KnoxPride.com is where you can find all that stuff at. So, like I said, we're hitting the stage back in January, January 8th, we'll be at South Press. Those tickets will go on sale in the next week. So there'll be a limited amount of tickets. So those will go fast. So look out for that.
Awesome. Well, once again, Barry, thank you so much for coming out of Abracadamn, man. This has been a blast.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Abracadamn. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Beary Manatease. Such a great person he is. Fantastic performer. And like I said, he is involved with so many things in the Knoxville, Tennessee area. A lot of things burlesque, Knox Pride, Smoky Mountain Burlesque Festival. So much stuff. And how about that? He got to perform for Dolly Parton. That is amazing. Anyways, that being said, Abracadamn, focus on those goals. Be thinking about what you want to get done for 2022, baby. Getting stuff done, son. That's what we all need to be doing. And like always, Abracadamn, thank you for listening.
Awesome. Hey, Danny! Will you please stop drinking vodka at my kid's birthday party? And then you got a freaking miracle. There you go.